Hey all, it's Alan here. Today we're going to cover Lab 6.1, which is basically what we went over in class yesterday. So first go to your class main document, which you are all familiar with, and go to L6.1, and you know the deal, go copy to, pick your spreadsheet, click on that, and then open your target workbook. So once you have it copied into your spreadsheet, you'll be able to work on it. So let's take a look at what we're going to do. We're basically writing a mission statement for college. What is a mission statement? A mission statement is basically what you're it's in one sentence you're summarizing what your life career goals are. And this is going to help you not only with focusing on what you want to do after you graduate, but it's also going to help you focus on which majors you might be able to take. So for example, a mission statement for me, let's pretend I'm entering college. So my mission statement would be, my career goal is to become a financial manager. And actually, let's just read off what I created here. And I'll just kind of read along and fill in the blanks. So I want to become a financial manager because I'm really interested in how the financial markets work. And then we continue here and say, data shows that there is a continuing need for financial managers. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics shows that there were, and I'm just going to make up a number here because I actually don't know the exact number, although you will know the exact number once you look up the spreadsheet. So I'm just going to make up numbers here. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics shows that there was 50,000 jobs in 2009. However, the growth rate for this position has increased by 20% over the last 5 years. I want to major in economics because it would provide me with a unique perspective in performing my role as a financial planner, period. Statistics suggest that there is unmet demand for the study of economics. The National Center for Education Statistics states that in 2011, 10,000 bachelor's degrees were confirmed by four-year institutions for that major. This represents 5% of the total degrees conferred that year. Furthermore, the growth of degrees in this major increased by 20% from 2010 to 2011, indicating that there is strong demand for individuals wishing to enter that field. Let me see here. I think okay, cool. So that's pretty much what your mission statement is going to look like. And you don't even really need to write it. You just need to look up 2 Excel spreadsheets in order to figure out what this data is going to look like. So let's take a look at 2 files, and you'll see up here the first one is going to be in the same folder that the class main document is. So go to the class main document. For you, I don't know what it's going to look like for you, but this is what it's going to look like for me. So your interface is going to look a little different in Google Docs. But basically, you're going to see class main document, and you're also going to see national, this spreadsheet right here. Click on this, download it, because if you click on it directly, it's going to open in Google Docs, and that's not what you want. You actually want to open it in Excel. So this is what it looks like. And this is a spreadsheet that I downloaded off the internet. It's available to the public. And what it shows is the total number of employment in the US. So cell D2 shows that there were about 128 million jobs in the US. Does anyone know what the population of the US is? It's about 300 million. Maybe, I think it's around 305 million now. So why would the total employment be so much less than the total population of the United States? Obviously, it's because people under the age of 18 basically don't have jobs, and then of course retired people don't have jobs either. So the total employment as a percentage of population is always going to be that percentage, under 50%. So find your major in here. For example, I know there's a lot of people in class that want to be doctors. Now, doctors is kind of a colloquial term for the actual position. So what would you search for if you wanted to search for positions as doctors? Well, first, a way to quickly search a term in Excel is to press Alt-EF and then type in your search term right here. So instead of doctor, I'm going to type in physician. That's kind of the official term for what we know today as medical doctors. I'm going to search for that, and you see that for physicians and surgeons, there's about 300,000 in the US as of, I think this is 2011. But there's so many other doctors in here as well. And I want you to take a look at how this spreadsheet is actually organized and what these numbers in column A represent. It's kind of like the Dewey Decimal System for libraries, which you guys have learned. It's organized so that the first two numbers, 2, 9, refer to a very general group of occupations. In this case, it's healthcare practitioners and technical occupations. And they kind of help you by saying that this is a major, they put in major here to show you that it's a subtotal. So this 7.5 million number encompasses many, many different occupations, anything that has a 29 in front of it. So let's scroll down here and take a look at some of these. A lot of these are physicians. Some of these are not physicians, like dietitians and nutritionists are not actually medical doctors. Neither are pharmacists or optometrists, although a GP, internist, all these guys are legit doctors. Let me resize this thing so you guys can look at it better. And you have nurses too, obviously, who fit within that umbrella. But if you want to be a physician, then you're obviously going to have to exclude this number. So your first job, if you want to become a physician for this exercise, is to find how many doctors are there in the US today. We know it's going to be, 7.5 minus the 2.7 here, and who knows what it's going to come out to. I certainly don't. But it looks like it's going to be maybe in the millions. But you won't know until you actually do the work. And you already know all the formulas that you need to know to calculate this really easily. I'm just going to use this cell here, for example, but obviously the first step is to take this number and minus nurses out of it. And you get 4.7, and then you have to minus all the other things in here that don't fit. Like, for example, who doesn't fit in here? Physician assistants obviously are not medical doctors, so you'd have to delete that. So on and so forth, right? So you're going to figure out how many doctors are there in the US. Why is that important? Because when you write your college, first of all, you kind of want to get a sense of how hard it is to become a doctor, if you think about it. And this next step is going to kind of give you a sense of it. And I would say that most people in your position probably don't think about these kind of issues. So if you think about this and you're able to incorporate it into your college essays, I think you would get a really good advantage. So this is one Excel spreadsheet that we're looking at, which is all the occupations in the US and the number of people in that occupation. And by the way, although we're not going to focus on it in this this exercise, they also show you the average salary for everyone. So as you can see here, chief executive officers average $176,000 a year. Legislators make $38,000 a year, so on and so forth. So that's kind of interesting to know too. And maybe we could work with that. You let me know whether you want to work with that or not. Let's move right along here. Let's open up our next spreadsheet. And so I'm going to go back to class main document, which is where? Here? Yeah, here. Actually, I'm going to go back to my spreadsheet. And we're going to open up degrees conferred by major. And this time I actually did provide a link here. So click on the link, and we get more data. And of course, by now you guys are not intimidated by so many numbers because you guys have already worked with this kind of data set before. But very quickly, this is basically showing you the number of degrees given to graduating seniors, essentially, in the years 1970 all the way to 2009. And you can see here that you have like agriculture and natural resources, you have engineering technologies, and let's take a look at biology. So a lot of med students would major in biology, and by 2009 there are 80,000 majors in biology, which is interesting. Okay, so download the Excel by clicking on this thing and open the Excel. Okay, you can see that all the data that we saw on the web is now in Excel. Okay, so what you need for this exercise is, first of all, find a major that you're interested in. So your exercise, this is where the assignment begins, is you want to calculate the growth in degrees for each of these, the growth from 1970 to 2009 for each of these majors. So for example, agricultural natural resources grew from 12,672 degrees in 1970 to 24,988 degrees in 2009. So it's basically doubled, but you need to create a formula to calculate exactly the percentage growth. So you can put it in this column T, for example. And that same formula is something that you can apply to pretty much every line here. But first, so that's the first thing you do. The second thing is, based on what you are thinking about becoming after college, whatever your job or career that you'd like to follow, think about the different kinds of majors that you can take in order to become that. So if you want to be a physician, biological and biomedical sciences is probably the most obvious one, but there's so many other things out there that could potentially apply. In fact, a lot of the technology stuff may actually help you to become a doctor, because so much of medicine nowadays is based on technology. Think about, here's health professions and related clinical sciences, although I believe this is more of a trade school type thing, so I don't know how applicable this would be, but maybe you can, just thinking out loud here, physical sciences, which includes, I'm guessing includes physics and chemistry and all that other stuff. That's obviously really good fit for becoming a physician as well. But there's a lot of non-traditional type things that you can major in as well. Psychology would allow you to differentiate yourself as you go into a medical school, and so on and so forth. So pick a couple of the majors that you think are really pop out at you and are kind of interesting, and then you can start to kind of form a mission statement that would really appeal to colleges as you write your admissions essay. For example, maybe you were to pick, I don't know, if you wanted to become a doctor and you were like, well, I want to take philosophy and religious studies. And by the way, I actually know some doctors that majored in this. Think about a way that you can differentiate yourself from everyone else that's taking biology. If you were to take religious studies, you can say, first of all, you can look at the numbers and say, wow, there's only 8,000 majors every year. Even today, in 2009, there's 12,000 majors, degrees being given out for those studies. So not the most popular thing in the world, pretty niche, which means that you'll be really special if you were to major in that. And then think about, how does philosophy and religious studies apply to practicing medicine? There's actually a very, very strong relationship, and that has to do with ethics. When you become a doctor, you're going to have to think a lot about the ethics of pretty much every decision you make, both in the way you interact with patients and the way you diagnose and treat conditions and disease. And there's all types of ethical dilemmas that come up with that, and you as a major in philosophy and religious studies would have a really good handle on that, and you would differentiate yourself